Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Build in Public Radio by Furlough. I don't know if you guys missed us, but we missed you. So we're super excited to be back. Obviously, we took a couple of weeks off, and in that time, what we were able to do is secure some really, really amazing guests for you guys to make sure that every single week, what we do is we bring value to the community, because we're a part of the community too. So when we bring this value to you guys, we get to share it, right? It's value that we get. So when I'm here hosting this, as I like to do generally on a weekly basis, I get to ask questions that I want to know the answers to. And with that, what we want to hear is what questions do you want to know the answers to? So we really look forward to everyone bringing their engagement and excitement to each and every episode. Definitely put those questions in, pop them in wherever you're watching us. LinkedIn, obviously, is where we have a lot of people. Pop those in and ask those questions. We'll make sure we try and get to as many of them on stream as we can and get those answers for you that are burning you up at night. And I'm not doing this by myself today. So I brought along a special co-host with me, of course. And if you're in the community, in the Furlough community at all, obviously you know him. As we had some discussions earlier, maybe you know him by his hair alone. But today our co-host is Mr. Ophir Gadot. What's up, Ophir?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on?
Happy Thursday, man. Excited to be here, obviously.
Same. Always a pleasure to host with you, man.
For sure. And what good would it be without bringing a guest on board, right? So obviously you guys can see on screen here, what we're doing is Beyond the Hype, the AI and blockchain revolution with our special guest. And if you haven't seen him around or seen his info anywhere in our announcements, it is Mr. Zeev Wexler. He is the CEO of Wexler Group and Viacry. And I had the opportunity. He joined us early in this one, so it was really cool to actually hang out with him for about 20 minutes before the show started. So I got to know him, and I think you guys are going to be super excited to hear some of the things he has to say and brings to us today. As you can see from his profile here, 20 years of experience with a strong focus in emerging technologies. We talked about, AI. We've got blockchain. Obviously, he's got some awards under his belt, a cutting edge agency, president of Viacry, I mentioned, which is in blockchain development, and then Wexler Marketing, same thing. This is all about marketing, and it's not just about blockchain. He's got all kinds of things under the belt there, and he's been involved in a bunch of startups with Fortune 500 companies. So super excited to have Zeev on screen. And now that he's been hiding, we hit him away. Let's bring him back on. So Zeev, what's up, man? Good to have you. For me, I get to see you again, but for everyone else, we're super excited to bring you on screen.
It is such a pleasure, guys. Brett, thank you. It's really nice to be here with Gal Gadot's brother. Just joking. For anybody that knows, Ophir and I go back a long, long time. I've known him for probably about 25 years. We went to high school together. But I'm so excited to be here with you guys, and thank you for the kind invite.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was so cool to hear about, again, backstage, kind of hearing you guys chatting about some of the things that you kind of been around and obviously grew up together. And I love the joke about Gal Gadot's brother. We never actually had that conversation, but obviously sharing a last name is just one
He's
part
better
of it,
looking.
Whoa, the looks came from.
Debatable. I don't know. Debatable. So we'll save that debate for another time. For sure. So Zev, now that you're here, thanks for joining us on stage, obviously giving you your time. I suspect we're going to have quite a bit of questions coming in today. So, we'll be ready for those and we'll ask those as they come in. But before we get to those, maybe you can give us kind of a quick intro of yourself. How did you get to where you are, especially in the AI and blockchain? Because that's, in a lot of people's minds, such a brand new technology, even though a lot of it has been around for many years. What kind of led you to get into what you're doing now?
Great question. So I've always looked at my life. I don't want to be, and I think Wayne Gretzky said this, I don't want to be where the puck is. I want to be where it's going to be. I want to be where things are going. So as I kind of looked at life, and I'm not old nor young, so I've been around a little bit, and I've seen some revolutions. And some of them, I think I was too young to really really grab it by the horns, as you say. So I saw the internet revolution, and I saw the smartphone revolution. And I truly believe blockchain and AI, and I'll explain the connection that I see between them, is the next revolution. So if on the internet, Ophir and I were just talking about it. We were young. We didn't really know what we were doing, but we had grand ideas. So maybe we missed that train a little bit. On the smartphone, I know I did not miss the train. And if you look at any company today, they're a direct derivative of that. So all the companies that rule our world are all from this recent revolution. So the next one is blockchain. Now, blockchain, people think it's a brand new technology, but it's been fully operational since 1991. So it's been it's an adult now, okay? It's been over 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know how blockchain came to be. Do you guys know?
I actually don't have the history of it myself, no, so I'd love to hear it from you.
So blockchain was started by a bunch of crypto professors, okay? They wanted to make sure that people can't backdate assignments. Sounds crazy, right? So back in the day, if you knew what you were doing, you can backdate any assignment. You can put it whenever you want and backdate it to the date that you needed to have it done. These professors were tired of it, so they decided to basically invent a way that that couldn't happen, and that was how blockchain was born, okay? Now, there wasn't any serious application, even though it's a superior technology. And what I know about superior technologies, Brett and Ophir, they always win, okay? So blockchain has been around for 22 years. And when, I don't know if you guys heard about the Bitcoin white paper, when Satoshi Nakamoto, or whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is, created that white paper, basically now there was a use case for the blockchain. So from that point on, the blockchain has been growing in incredible amounts of speed. So I'll ask you guys, do you guys know do you know how quickly we adopted the internet when the internet came out?
No, but I got to be honest, Zev, I wasn't expecting to get all these questions to me, but I love it.
Yeah.
So keep asking questions. No, I don't know exactly. I mean, again, I was around for a lot of it, much like you. I feel like I'm not old, not young. So, I mean, I was involved in the internet myself, even as early as the late 1980s, personally, when I was a young child, but really got into it like in the early 90s, I guess you would say, familiar with it late 80s, got into it the early 90s. But yeah, you tell me.
So I mean, for me, just saying, for me, it was maybe early 2000s. I was aware of it, but really integrating with internet, early 2000s.
So that's the thing, I always ask my dad, do you understand the internet? No. Does that not mean you're on your smartphone on Facebook all day, every day? So what I'm trying to convey to you guys is you don't need to understand the technology for it to take over the world, okay?
I agree.
You don't really understand what internet, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 on the blockchain will be, but those technologies take over the world. So when the Bitcoin case use came onto the blockchain, it woke up a crazy industry. So I was asking about the internet. When the internet came to be, it was the fastest adoption of technology humans ever had, okay? So we adopted to the internet faster than we've ever adopted to any technology. Blockchain is moving twice as fast. So the adoption, I'm going to say that again. The adoption of blockchain is moving twice as fast as the adoption of internet. Now, I could have told you in the beginning that you couldn't stop the adoption of internet, and I'll tell you right now, you cannot stop the adoption of the blockchain. There is a rule, it's called the Metcalfe rule of growing networks. You measure how powerful a network is. So the rule states that the time that it takes you to get from 0 to 10 is the same time that takes you to get from 10 to 90. And we're right at that brink. So we are getting to that point where it's going to be invincible. When certain numbers go and certain adoption goes, you just can't beat it. Does that make sense?
It does. And when you talk about blockchain, and should we be separating the idea of that from crypto? When you're talking about blockchain and the adoption, are you associating that 100% of the time with crypto, or are you creating like a separation there? And I think that's where a lot of people's mindset is, that they are associating them and saying that they are exactly the same thing, but obviously they're not. So, I mean, you're creating a separation there, correct?
Absolutely. So blockchain is a technology. It's a superior technology, and technology that, whether we want it or not, will take over. Okay, because just that's what good technologies do. Crypto is the tokenization of this blockchain. So basically, let me explain to you guys a little bit what I see blockchain is and why is it going to revolutionize everything. Blockchain allows you to replace basically trust with fact. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Today in the economy, how we do things, we have to use trust. Blockchain negates that trust, and instead of that trust, you have a fact, a contract that cannot be changed. So what blockchain is going to do, and I know 90% of people don't get that, it's going to revolutionize every industry, because we do not need third parties anymore. Think about, you guys maybe don't know this, but there's like $10 trillion every year spent on third parties. Okay, that's more than most countries. So the blockchain negates all that. We're talking about finance. You don't need a third party. We're talking about any kind of, think about cars, think about homes, think about anything. Everything involves third parties like title companies, the DMV, the government, all these things. Blockchain negates all of that. You can have a transaction. I can sell you my car, Ophir, and then all the licenses, all the stuff, everything goes through the blockchain, and the whole world now knows that you have it and I don't. Does that make sense?
It
Absolutely.
does, but my question on this is, because I feel there's a big, lack of trust in the entire world of crypto and blockchain, and how is it may affect like adoption, and what do you see, like how do you see the impact there?
Blockchain is the most trustworthy technology out there. And I'll say this again, blockchain is the most trustworthy technology out there. The people who are not trustworthy as the people. Okay, so let's take, everybody here knows about FTX, right? FTX was not a failure of blockchain. It was never on the blockchain. It was a failure of a fraud of a person. When you actually put things on the blockchain, you don't have to put trust in frauds, because everything is out there of here. So for instance, we all know about the FTX and all this. They never bought Bitcoin. You guys know that? FTX never bought Bitcoin, because when you buy Bitcoin, it's on the chain. You can't cheat. You can't do these things.
Right.
So the problem with crypto is bad people that try to make money off of people who don't understand. But the technology, it is 5x more trustworthy than the technology that we have now.
So it's interesting what you're describing. So a lot of people, obviously people in the United States, maybe not as much in other countries, you're talking about trust versus fact. And that's essentially what was created with the credit system, right? Like what with FICO, right? Fair Isaac credit, essentially. And a lot of people don't know this was started in the US, I think in the late 80s, right? I don't think this was adopted, before that, when you went to buy a house or whatever, there was nothing standardized. I mean, there were systems in place, but nothing really standardized in that sense, where they would meet you, Zev, and they'd say, all right, well, tell me about your job and, your wife and your kids. And we're kind of lending on a relationship when it comes to buying a house or buying a business. And then obviously that changed whenever FICO, came around, I guess, whenever that was created, to create a standardized system where they say, okay, now we're basing this on fact, and here's all the facts that are put in place. And obviously there are limitations that go along with it. I mean, if you are someone who doesn't understand credit scores and the way it works in the United States, you can definitely, I don't want to say be taken advantage of, but you may not get to where you want to be with it. So there's a lot of intricacies that kind of go in there that a lot of people don't realize to understand. Like, you don't just get one credit score. There's a lot more to it. I can have a whole debate on this.
So let me. So FICO score and the blockchain are completely different, because the FICO score is controlled by companies. They decide what they give you. They decide they can change it. That is not how it is on the blockchain. The blockchain is a network where nothing can be changed by one entity. Okay.
Right.
So Bitcoin, for instance, nobody controls Bitcoin. Nobody owns Bitcoin. Nobody can change the rules of Bitcoin. It is basically a smart contract that runs on the same way. So I understand what you're saying, but blockchain makes everything completely owned by the society. Okay. So I'll give you a little example. Did you guys hear there was a big diploma crisis? Like people were getting fake diplomas? Harvard diploma, stuff like that. It was in the news some months ago.
I watched the show Suits, and he had a fake diploma in that. I don't know if that's what we're talking about or not.
Love Suits.
It's one of my favorite shows. I just finished it again.
I haven't finished it yet, but I love it. You kind of threw me off. What were we saying before Suits?
You were talking about fake diplomas, and I went to Mike Ross over here. So,
good one. Yeah. So if it's on the blockchain, guys, there couldn't be a fake diploma because the blockchain would verify that Harvard gave this diploma to me, and it's there. So everything is verified. There is no cheating in blockchain. It's the coolest thing. There's no lying in blockchain. There's no cheating in blockchain. It's secure, it's transparent, and you don't need somebody to boss you around. Now, let's talk about money a little bit. You guys mind?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, I don't mind. Let's talk about it.
So money, okay? The biggest system that's going to be replaced with blockchain is our financial system. Our financial system is a bit of a flawed one. Now, I don't know how much experience you guys have with our financial system, but when you put money in the bank, it's no longer yours, whether you want to believe it or not. When you put money in the bank doesn't even have to keep that money. The bank could do whatever it wants with that money. It used to be 90% of your money. Now it's 100% of your money. Okay. So basically by law, and people don't know this because we were born into this and we're just, we're used to it. By law, you give the money to the bank. They don't have to give it back to you. And to me, that's a bit insane. Now, not only that, I need to pay them so they can use my money to do whatever the heck they want. So Ophir, I'm going to work really, really hard. And then I'm going to give you all my money. You can do whatever the heck you want with it. And I need to pay for that pleasure too. And then, of course, when I want it, if you want to give it back to me, if not, you don't have to. That is insane, right?
Well, service cost. Got to pay for work, man.
Very good, service cost. So blockchain makes us all banks, okay? Right now, I can transfer you $1 million. I'm not gonna, but I can transfer you $1 million like that in a second. I don't need anybody's authorization, and it will be in your hands within 3 seconds. Okay, that is so much of a superior technology to what we do now. When I wire I just bought a company. I wired a lot of money to Europe. It took 5 days. 5 days for the money to get there. So this blockchain technology revolutionizes the financial industry on times, on the cost of it. And the only reason it hasn't happened yet is because the banks don't want to lose all the money we gave them. But it will happen because it's inevitable. Okay. There's a saying about new technologies. At first they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then they accept you, kind of thing, right? So now we're in the fighting stage. They laughed about blockchain. Now nobody's laughing about blockchain. BlackRock is investing in blockchain. Everybody's going in. Everybody's putting their money in. So now some people are fighting it, some adopting, and the next step is full adoption. So it's, Ophir and I had a conversation last night on the phone, and he was like, yeah, but how can you be so sure? Because of numbers. Numbers don't lie. Adoption rates do not lie. And in the end of the day, superior technology will emerge. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about AI. Do you guys mind?
Sure. I mean, we do have some questions I do want to make sure we get to, but
please.
I mean, I don't want to break your chain there either, because you're kind of going on a nice.
I'll do a little bit about AI and we'll go to questions. So we said that blockchain was the fastest adoption of technology, twice as fast as the internet. AI killed that 10x. Like ChatGPT had 100 million users within like 3 months or some nonsense. That is incredible. So I truly believe that AI is going to be the thing that makes blockchain go even faster. And it comes from a few different ways. One, it allows us to do so much more. So a lot of people ask me, is AI going to replace me? No, but if you don't use it, I will replace you because I'm going to use it. So it's not the AI that's going to replace you. I will, because now I can do 10 times the job. So that's one. Second thing, there is a craze of money on AI right now. And I know because I own an AI company. I'm going to tell you something, probably not the smartest thing for me to say, but we get more money than we need. Okay, we get more investments than we actually need. So a lot of that excess money, in my humble opinion, is going to go right back into blockchain. Okay, so all of these AI companies that are getting hundreds of millions in investment, they don't need it right now. They're going to put it in Bitcoin. They're going to put it in Ethereum. They're going to put it in blockchain. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I have a question though.
Go
I have
ahead.
a question on this because blockchain is all about decentralization, right? And me as an AI company, I have all the interest of centralizing because I have all the databases in my hand, right? Just thinking like OpenAI or Google AI or Meta AI or all that. Like my interests are to dominate the data and centralize it. So how does they coexist? I just don't get it.
So again, the problem is, and I don't think you're looking at this correctly, because 80% of the data out there is crap. Okay, so if you're going to dominate all the bad information, what good is that going to do for you? So the way we work, I have an AI tool that we've built, and the way we use it is, I don't want the AI tool to go and explore the entire world, every blog, every internet, everything, because most of the internet is bull. Most of the internet is non-factual. So I only want my AI to go through the sources that I deem as, authoritative and good, that I deem is correct. So the way we do AI is we don't try to make it expand, as much as we can. I think that's where lawsuits happen, mistakes happen. Like that's where it costs a lot of money. What we do, for instance, I can't say the name, but a huge consulting company that everybody knows, the biggest in the US, wants us to basically put this AI only on their HR laws, rules, regulations, so everybody can talk to a super smart AI about any rule HR that they have. And you can take that so many places. We do it with BD. A lot of sales companies, if you put all the sales information inside of this AI, they can tell you which clients are better. Where should you spend your time? What products give you more profit? Which we know as salespeople, it's super hard for us to do. So this AI is basically gonna make us so much better, but it's not about making it universe wide. It's about making focused decisions from data that we know is correct. At least that's why I think.
Yeah, you're taking the emotion out of it, right? You're making those decisions based on data analytics, and that's where the AI is it takes the emotion completely out of the analytics, I guess you would say, analysis.
But not really, because we put emotions into the internet. Okay?
Right,
So
right.
AI doesn't know how to eat that. So why is AI racist? Because we're racist, right? Why is AI whatever liar? Because we lie. Why is AI not correct? Because it just takes what we put on the web and does something with it. It has no way of knowing what's true or not.
Right. Well, so let's jump to some questions. I know we had a couple come in. Jacob sent one a little while ago, and he basically just asked, can any type of company benefit from blockchain technology? Are there some applications that you can think of maybe with certain industries that maybe aren't normally thought of that can utilize this type of technology? I mean, obviously you can see there, what's the future of this? What's this look like with the future of blockchain and all these different industries and technologies?
Amazing question. So there is a use case for blockchain in every company I have ever went into. Okay, and whether it's Walmart. Okay, so I'll tell you let's talk about Walmart for a second. So Walmart wants to know where something drops, where a certain product drops, where something happened. Right now in the system they can't do that. But if you put that on the blockchain, you can tell that, let's say this tomato was good when it went from this hole to this truck, but it wasn't good from this truck to this store. So you can actually pinpoint so many things in the chain that you would never be able to pinpoint otherwise. Let's take like a luxury brand like Rolex, right? What's the biggest problem with Rolex? It's fake Rolexes, right?
Yep.
So what we do with the company like Rolex is we basically develop, when we sell the watch, we develop an NFT on a little cool little platinum disc. And under there's the NFT that proves that this is the correct, right, Rolex that was sent, blah, blah, blah. Now let's take another thing that was really cool. I had a meeting with a partner, and we met a space station, a private space station. Again, I can't tell you too much. I'm kind of bound by contracts, but that space station met with us about the blockchain. Now, have you ever had a meeting when somebody set the meeting and they really wanted to talk to you, but then they couldn't make the meeting? Other people came in and they were like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Did that ever happen to you?
Been there. Yep.
So we come in, me and my partner, and we go and meet two space station engineers, and they do not want to talk to us. For them, blockchain is crypto. They're like,
right.
Half an hour, the most uncomfortable conversation. Now, I'm not afraid of uncomfortable conversations. We know we make them go. They were like, I don't know. And then we figured out something amazing, okay? These guys have a space station that is operational, getting so much data and sending it to Earth, okay? They're using like the usual suspects, like the Amazon, AWS or
AWS,
Azure Drive. And all that data costs hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. Mm-hmm. We can move them to the blockchain, and we can cut that cost by 98%.
That's huge.
Okay. When they heard that, in the other half an hour of the call, suddenly we were best friends. Suddenly, we were invited there, like through the.
Now they're the heroes, for sure.
But it's so badly. But the reason I'm telling you this story is what I've learned is it's just a better technology. Every company can find a way to utilize it to do something better. Whether it's security, finance, identification. There's so many different ways of doing it, but I have never seen a company. And, I'm not talking about a mom and pop, little shop in the street, but any company that is established company, I haven't met one that we couldn't either make a lot of money, save a lot of money with blockchain, Web3, which is basically what the internet is on blockchain, and AI. So there's always room to do things better, quicker, and the blockchain allows us to do things that we could never do before.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned obviously Rolex is a great example because that's very similar to like baseball cards or autograph things. It's a certificate of authenticity, right? This has always been does it have the certificate with it? Is it actually the one that you say it is? And now you can kind of avoid some of that. Now you have to you still have to make some sort of parallel there. And I like the idea of the NFT that says this physical product is actually the original one, art, all these types of things that you can store on the blockchain and kind of use that as a reference point. So that's huge.
So let's talk about NFTs for a second. Non-fungible tokens. What the heck that is? The problem with the internet, Brett, from the minute the internet was on, the biggest problem with the internet is anything you put on it loses its entire value. Okay, so let's say I'm a songwriter, I write a song and I send it to you. There's a duplication that's made. Nobody even knows what the original, what's the duplicate. So nothing is worth anything online. Right. NFTs basically solved. So now we can have actual assets online. And NFTs have so many different use cases. And NFTs are going to take over. Like in the end of the day, most of the things we're going to buy and sell in the future are going to be in the form of NFTs. Now, I know NFTs is not the most popular term right now.
Sure.
So when we sell it and do stuff, we sometimes don't call it NFT, but there's so many uses. I'll tell you, there's a amazing medical manufacturer we work with, and they want to train nurses. They want nurses to know all the risks and all the stuff. Incredible company. And basically what they ask us to do is build a training for these nurses for completely free. But why would these nurses do it? So what we did is we awarded these nurses these hero nurse NFTs, okay, for completing certain things. So you gamify it. Now they get something, okay? So now everything is on the blockchain. Right. And I'm working right now with a couple of things I can't tell you, but certain whole communities, they want to move to the blockchain because everything is controlled better. Everything is secure. So it's just such a better solution for almost everything.
So were they called NFTs in that scenario, or were they called something different, like digital tokens or something?
So,
something else.
Again, you can call it anywhere that you want, but in the end of the day, that's what it is.
Sure.
An asset on the digital, that's an NFT. Politically, NFTs became kind of like, oh, we can't say that.
They did, and that's why I'm wondering if there was like a different term that was used there, because the nomenclature of NFT, digital asset. Okay, yeah, and that's what I suspect. And digital assets have been around to some degree. Off-chain digital assets have been around for a long time. You'd buy a CD, you get something cool that went with it, right? Some music or something. Now, obviously not on chain, but still same idea. So yeah, digital
So
asset.
now
I
they're
suspect.
non-fungible, but yeah.
Correct. Yeah, makes sense. Bogdan had a really good question here, and I think this is a good tie-in because I wanted to ask specifically about using the blockchain, because you mentioned kind of using it in any industry, and obviously you being in the marketing side. So I'm kind of curious the tie-in there. Obviously, I know the AI tie-in. Is there a blockchain tie-in? And it's specifically Bogdan was asking about specific elements like attribution, community, advertising, email, other things, and how those things will change. And specifically, he wanted to focus on like the attribution side. So that's kind of two questions. One is about blockchain and marketing, and one is about how does it affect the attribution side of things.
So basically, it's going to affect everything, because what is the new internet is Web3, which is basically the internet on blockchain. And
Right.
what is, I'll quickly go over, like Web 1, when we started the internet, Web 1 was read-only. It was a platform that all we can do is just read what's on there, and everything else is, not necessary. Web 2 is where we added a write, kind of feature. The closest thing the easiest thing to think of is social media. Now we can actually, create stuff, comment, but it also created segmentations. Now we don't all see the same thing. So now we are the product in Web 2. So in Web 2, I'm going to try to figure out what Ophir wants, and I'm going to try to put it in front of him so he buys, and you're going to see completely other things when you go to the same place. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Web 3 is the democratization of the web, and that's where the tokenization, that's where the crypto comes in. Okay, so Web 3, okay, so there's basically on each blockchain, let's take Ethereum, it's the biggest blockchain out there. So if you own ETH, which is the token of Ethereum, you are now an owner, part owner of the whole system. You have voting rights. You're no longer the product, you're the owner. And if the network does really, 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 really well, you'll get rich, because those ETH will be worth 10x of what they were before. So if you support, build, grow, bring people into this network, you're actually growing your assets, because by participating in the network, you're a part owner. And you can vote for what they do, don't do, their decisions. You can be in their Discords. You guys know Discord really well. So you basically become a part owner. It's no longer we're like pawns that, we're trying to just, be sold our data from Facebook to this. Now we decide what we play with, and we decide how much we want to be part owners of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense. And I think that kind of ties in with Henry. Sorry, Ophir, did you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, for me, I'm unsure about the actual interest of customers who become part owners. And how do you understand that? Because to me, it's kind of a hole in this entire model.
So it's not a hole in the model. You just haven't dive deep to it. So every coin, everything. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Love Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, there is only 21 million Bitcoins. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. So if you own one Bitcoin, you know exactly what the percentage of ownership you have over Bitcoin, right? If you own 10 million Bitcoin, you also know exactly what percentage of ownership you have. So there is an algorithm. So right now, I love Bitcoin. I've loved Bitcoin for many years. And if I'm not a financial advisor, but I think it's a great tool. Now, Ethereum, for instance, what do you guys know about Ethereum?
Go ahead, Ophir.
I know about gas fees. That's pretty much the most I know about it.
Yeah, gas fees. And obviously, Ethereum was notorious, I guess you would say, for making the change from, we're at proof of work to proof of stake, obviously. So, it was a big in mining currency for a long time. And then obviously that changed with that change.
So let's talk, because I don't know if everybody knows about what the difference. Proof of work is Bitcoin, okay? Proof of work meaning I have a big rig out here that is mining Bitcoin. What I'm doing is I am protecting the Bitcoin ecosystem. So that's what miners are doing. They're basically putting amazing amounts of computing power to protect the system. When they do that, they get rewards in the form of Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys know this, but Bitcoin today is the strongest computing network in the world by far that was ever created. So there's so much computing power in Bitcoin that even if US and China are going to try to take down Bitcoin together, they're not going to be able to do it. There's just too much computing power. They'll spend $10 billion and take one block for half a second, and it will be forked. It is such a formidable force. And something that I didn't intend to talk about in this meeting, but there is a power of Bitcoin to actually create peace, meaning there's never been war between two countries that use the same currency. Interesting thing, right? So if Bitcoin actually becomes the world currency, there's going to be a lot less incentives for war. There's going to be a lot less incentives for all kinds of things. I'm going to close it here because I don't want to get too far into that. But Bitcoin is basically something that can unite us financially in a way that makes sense. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Ophir, if you had a money printer in your attic, okay, and shit got hard, would you use the money printer?
24/7, man. Even if time is good, 24/7, just printing.
Okay, so if you have a money printer, you'll never work hard. If you have a money printer, you'll never figure out your issues. You freaking have a money printer. Okay, so that's what our system does. Every time we have issues, we just print more, which screws all of us. We pay so much more in the supermarket. That's why houses cost so much more, rent costs so much more, because they printed so much money, they diluted ours. It doesn't happen in Bitcoin. Nobody can dilute my Bitcoin. There's 21 million. Okay, nobody can dilute it. Now, I look at Bitcoins as Bitcoin, not really the worth a dollar, because the dollar is going to change and things are going to happen. But I want to have Bitcoin. I have a goal on Bitcoin number, not how much it's going to be worth. If you guys want to talk about how much I think it's going to be worth, we can do that too. But I want a percentage of that 21 million that will allow me to have a big part in the future's economy. Does that make sense? Now,
Yes.
Ethereum is proof.
Tell me, do you see a situation where Bitcoin actually is the most dominant coin out there,
Yes.
like over the dollar?
Yes. Absolutely.
Crazy.
I think so. The way I look at Bitcoin is digital gold, okay? And it has so many amazing attribute over gold. Now, people say, oh, but gold is gold. Bullcrap. Gold is gold because we decided gold is gold. We could have decided aluminum was gold. We could have decided the rocks were gold. Okay.
Yep.
So gold was gold because we decided some time ago that that's a cool looking metal that we're going to trade with. Bitcoin, basically, if you have 2 kilograms of gold right now and you wanted to give them to me, it's impossible. How are you going to do it? If you have a big bar of gold and you just want to give me a little, what, are you going to melt it?
Yeah, right.
You know,
you can't give a piece of it. It's the
now,
whole bar or nothing. Yeah.
Scratch some from the top, man.
Right.
Somebody breaks into your house.
Yeah.
They can take it, right?
Right.
So what I'm saying is Bitcoin is digital gold, just has so many more advantages to it. You can pass it in a second. It's completely secure. It doesn't weigh anything. It's the best store of value. And right now, the entirety of Bitcoin is only like $500 billion invested to it. That's the entire amount of money. Now, I can tell you that when every time that's going to grow, the amount of Bitcoin worth in dollars is going to grow. It's just simple math. And yesterday I sat down with Ophir and I tried to explain him why I love Bitcoin so much. Everything in the economy is supply and demand. Okay. The supply side is fixed on Bitcoin. So it's a basically a math problem with one thing you don't know, which is like a freaking dream. So basically we know exactly how much Bitcoin there is. We know that. So it's all about how much people want it. So if more people want Bitcoin to buy than to sell, Bitcoin's going to shoot up. If more people want to sell than buy, Bitcoin's going to go down. And that is it. There is no other factors. And that is why I really like it. So I predict that Bitcoin is going to explode. So right now there's 500 billion. I think it's going to reach to 10 trillion at one point, just like gold is at 10 trillion. If it's in 10 trillion, one Bitcoin is going to be worth a whole lot. Does that make sense?
So your team Bitcoin, yeah, I can understand that. So Eddie asked if there are other cryptocurrencies, non-Bitcoin, kind of emerging or
absolutely. So if you're looking to make a big bang, it's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be amazing, but some of the altcoins are always going to have a bigger rise. But Bitcoin is something that I am 100% complete with, full with. I'm happy with it. I
Right.
read so other things is gambles, so you can gamble, and I gamble plenty, but just know that just as much as it can go up 100x, it can also disappear. So, there's so many stories. Have you guys been around the Terra Luna collapse?
Oh yeah.
So Terra Luna was one of those things that many people thought that was the great next big thing.
Yep.
And I always knew that, not always, I'm lying. I was excited about it in the beginning, but then when I figured out the algorithmic stablecoin that will never work, and my partners told me, like, stay away from it. So we knew that it was going to go down. We actually shorted it and we made it a bunch of money because we knew, we
Nice.
saw it was going to go down. So there are certain things, like an algorithmic stablecoin can never work. Okay, that's just a fact in the thing. You can try to play with it as much as you want, but it's just not going to ever work because there's more money to other people that can destroy your algorithm. So I know I'm kind of going into deep things in here, but do you guys have any more questions or anything the community wants to know?
Yeah, we got a couple of things in here I'll hit. But I just wanted to kind of I watched Dogecoin make its fun moves. I had a buddy who made a ton on the Will Smith coin. I don't know. I mean, he made thousands in like an hour. Like just bought and sold the Will Smith coin. When, I mean, like you said, and those are ones that, those are obvious ones, right? Dogecoin clearly is a joke. Will Smith, I mean, those coins are ones that
So Dogecoin started as a joke.
started as a joke. Yeah.
It
Okay.
now has a community. So that's
Right.
what you need to look at. And that's where I look at, and you guys, Ophir, you do a lot of this. I look at the GitHubs. I look at how many developers are doing stuff. So
Right.
it's not, if you have a community, do you know Shiba Inu?
Oh yeah.
I made tons of money in Shiba Inu. I know a guy that the only reason his business survived during COVID is because of Shiba Inu.
That's
Like,
crazy.
he used to take that money and do payroll and all kinds of stuff. He kept his business surviving because of that. I also know people that lost everything in Terra Luna, lost $1 million.
Right. Right.
Okay. I know people here, right where I am, in this building, that lost so much with all the stuff that happened with the FTX and the stuff that happened before that. So you gotta self custody your crypto. Okay. You cannot trust anybody. The whole point of crypto is you can be your own owner. So I have my own wallets. I don't trust people. I don't trust exchanges. I trust myself. And that's why I love it. So you can't just go and put your money with companies that's going to tell you, you're going to give you 10%, 20. Figure it out yourself. Self custody. If you want to stake something, stake. That's the proof of proof of what Ethereum is doing. So if you want to help that stake and get money, but you have to understand that if you don't control it, it's not yours. And everybody can screw with it. So have self custody. Now, people are afraid of self custody because you have to remember codes. Seriously, like, remember codes, put them in a secure place, have control over your things, so things like FTX cannot happen.
Right.
I'll tell you a story. FTX wanted me to sponsor him. Okay, there was a request that came if we do sponsorship for us, and it was so weird, and the guy was so off. We said no, but many people said yes and destroyed their careers. They got some money, but now they're not to be trusted.
Yeah, and you kind of hit on the four magic words that you always use, both in crypto and really stocks and basically anything investing. It's do your own research. I mean, I don't know how else to do your own research, right? And we talk about that all the time in the crypto channels and things like that. So, and we talked a lot about crypto, and obviously we talked about blockchain. We talked a little bit about AI. We did have a really good question earlier from Henry, and we kind of touched on it briefly, but I just wanted to make sure, I kind of got your opinion on this. And it's about, combating consumer protection issues, right? So, that can be a big deal, obviously, in privacy issues become a big deal in social media and things like that. So, again, his question, Henry said, to play devil's advocate, how do we combat consumer protection issues with blockchain?
Blockchain is private. Okay. The blockchain is so superior to what we call today the internet with privacy. There is no privacy to the internet. You are the product. Your data is being sold every second, every day. So we are living in a world right now that we have no rights. We are the product. We are the fish that being fished. So the blockchain is going to change that. So again, I understand that there's a bad kind of connotation about blockchain, bad people, fraudulent people.
Right.
But
Right.
the technology is clearly superior and it protects us. So if you want to be protected, go to the blockchain. Your privacy is going to be secured. Your money is going to be secured. So everything on the blockchain is more secured, both for your money and for your privacy, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
when you go decentralized, you don't even have to put your information. You're a number. Okay. So I have
Right.
wallets that may have millions of dollars, but they're a number.
Right.
There's no Zeev Wexler, with my address or anything. They're a crypto number. Okay. So what's better than that to protect my personal data? So I hope, Henry, I understood the question. But as a technology, I want to tell you that blockchain is so much superior to protecting our information than what we have now that it's not even funny.
I have a
Makes
follow-up
perfect
on this, Zev. On the other side, what kind of objection you're mostly facing when you're trying to, sell and offer blockchain solutions for brands? And how do you face them?
Great. Everything people don't understand, they're scared about. Okay. So, and especially when you talk to like high level guy, he doesn't want to sound like an idiot. And he doesn't want to let you know that he does not understand anything. So the way we combat it is we put together killer case studies. Okay. And we look at a company and we have the experience to kind of say, okay, for sure this will save them money. For sure this will give them money. We don't use words like NFTs. I think I saw one of the comments of Joe that it's like calling a song an MP3. Exactly. We don't use names of technologies to confuse people. We just explain to them, just like with the space station. Okay. The beginning, they didn't want to listen to a word we're saying. But then we dug until we actually found something that can save them. Dude, if I can save you $500,000 a year, you're going to listen to me.
Right. Right.
Okay. If not, you're an idiot and I don't want to work with you anyways. So
yeah, and I think you, as the person making that presentation, just has to be aware that there are certain connotations that go with certain words, and just you don't want to trick someone into buying in for an NFT, but you just may want to be cautious about using that word or that phrase initially, and just kind of explaining the technology side of it or whatever side of it makes sense to their business first.
And you also show them, a lot of people don't know, but all the giants of industry are putting billions of dollars into blockchain. All of them. So if you look at Sony, Starbucks, Coca-Cola just released a crazy NFT, insane NFT collection. So all of them are investing insane amounts of money in it. Why do you think? Like they don't know what they're doing. I talked about this with you for last night, but there is the biggest money manager in the world, BlackRock. Okay, BlackRock is putting out an ETF for Bitcoin. What does that mean? It's basically a stock that you can buy stock, and then BlackRock has to go buy Bitcoin for you. Do you know what that's going to do for the exposure of Bitcoin and how much money is in Bitcoin? Do you know what's that going to do for the entire industry? So
yeah,
we are right at the brink now. Bitcoin has seasons. Okay, it doesn't always go up. There is a certain kind of thing that it does. So right now we're about to hit what we call the halving. Have you guys ever heard about the Bitcoin halving?
Nope.
Oh, sorry.
The Bitcoin halving is the most important thing in the Bitcoin life. Every 4 years, Bitcoin gets 100% more difficult. Okay, what do I mean by that? When Bitcoin started and people were mining, every time they secured a block, they got a bunch of Bitcoin. 4 years later, they got half of that. 4 years later, half of that. 4 years later, half of that. What does that does? It makes Bitcoin insanely more scarce. And every time in history that a halving happened, before the halving and extremely after the halving, there was a crazy, insane raise, because that's kind of how it's built. Then it goes up to a certain point and then starts going down until the next halving, basically, until the time before the next halving. So
when's the
everybody
next one?
was surprised. Coming up in March, April of 24. So we're about to get to the launch of it.
They'll liquidate some stuff, man.
Yeah. I don't put any dollars right now that I don't have to use for my companies. I don't keep anything in dollars. I keep it in Bitcoin, but to each his own. So what I'm thinking is, whatever Bitcoin is now, I'm willing to make the bet to myself with my own finances that it will be 3x at least by the end of next year, at least. And I think a lot more, but how can you make 3x on your money in a year? That's like,
not possible.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why, like, everything, if everybody was surprised last year was a bad year for crypto, why? Like, if you look at the schedule, if you understand the math, it should be. That's just how it works. So the 4 years of halving, you almost have seasons, like summer, fall, winter, and spring.
Right.
And each season has what it does usually. And you can actually track this. Now, again, COVID happens. That's a crazy, like, black swan event.
Anomaly.
So things change, but then they fit back right into the schedule. Does that make sense, Ophir?
It does. I just, like, yesterday you told me something about how the growth of Bitcoin will impact the entire growth of all the cryptocurrencies. And I'm not sure why, if you can explain more, what's the reasons behind it?
Bitcoin is the granddaddy. Okay. Bitcoin is the king. All right. When Bitcoin goes up, the whole industry goes up. It's just it's the way society works. Okay. So if everybody goes on Bitcoin, there's going to be a whole splash of money to all the other altcoins because it's one community, right? So every time Bitcoin always goes up first, always. Like, I'm not saying from any, but as a ecosystem, Bitcoin goes up first, and everything kind of runs into Bitcoin. Now, most of cryptocurrencies are crap, bullshit, not worth investing.
Yep.
Like
altcoins, garbage
95%.
coins. Yeah.
Yes. Doesn't mean you can't make money and with garbage coin. You can also lose money, but somebody said shit coins. Yeah. So basically, most I just saw the shit coin pop.
Yeah, he typed it instead of saying it out loud, but yeah.
So basically, there is lots of shit coins. You need to do your research. I gamble at times, but 90% of my crypto wealth is in Bitcoin and Ethereum, mainly Bitcoin. Okay. So I play, but I don't play with everything. I understand that every altcoin that I invest money in, there's a risk for me to not have anything. I understand that. And sometimes I just make small little bets on stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. So, and Joe asked a good question, I think, a few minutes ago. Joe Casanova asked about your thoughts on, like, CBDCs and countries and, fintech companies and PayPal and all these other people getting into and launching stable coins. And I'm going to use that in quotes because, what does that mean in this case? So what are your thoughts on those companies getting involved in that?
So I am not going to partake or try my hardest not to partake in any centralized CBDC or anything like that. The reason is it's not my money. It's a digital coin that is created by an entity that then they can take it whenever they want. They can block me whatever they want. So I have a big issue with CBDCs in general. Now, the reason why the government wants to do that, I completely understand. They want to track everything we do. So if you have a CBDC, then the government will have a database of every single person in the country and exactly what they spend money on. Okay.
Right.
So I think that's a huge invasion in privacy. Somebody, Henry, I think, asked about privacy.
It was Henry,
that's going to destroy. There's going to be no privacy. We're going to be controlled. So I do not like that idea. I think the only reason they came up with that idea is they know that blockchain is not going anywhere. So instead of fighting it, they'll create something that is looking like it, but will kind of continue with the same centralized system. So I don't think CBDCs create any solution for anything. I don't think there's something that was really thought of except from what the government wants. And if I have any kind of way to not deal with it, I won't.
I'm sure that this is a whole different discussion for a different time, but I'm sure that Zev, on a yearly basis, you get around tax time, you get to spend a couple of months gathering things and paperwork and making sure you got all the 1099s and everything all put together, right? All your your K2s, get everything put together, get everything set up, and you send it off to the IRS, and then they send it back and they go, yeah, that's not actually what we had on file. You're missing this thing. And I'm like, dudes, if you guys had the answer, why am I doing all the damn work? Like, if I'm going to send it all to you and you're going to tell me that's not what we had, let's try it this way. Just tell me what you had and let's go from there. So I think that's a whole different discussion that I'm sure you deal with the same pains and any business owner probably does.
I think I'm going to be very diplomatic right now. I think AC from your team taught me this about heart. I love you. I have nothing bad to say to you ever. So,
in case you're watching,
don't get me in trouble, brother.
I
love them. They're awesome. They're the best.
I'm just saying. Well, and there's a whole other discussion there surrounding, if they're like, they step in and say, well, if we track it, then now you don't have to do the work. And I'm like, are you really going to take away the work of everyone doing all this every year? I don't think so. So, they're just be cautious of their reasoning behind coming up with some government-backed fund or whatever it is. So anyway, we got a couple more questions.
Anything that sounds to be true is.
Yeah. We got a couple more questions here, so let's hit these before we finish it out. Like I said, that's a whole different discussion. Jacob asks, how can consumers ensure that every company that's adopting blockchain is using a secure technology, kind of like similar to what we just said? And is it possible to create like a false blockchain? Is there any way to fake it?
There is ways to fake anything. I can put a wig right now and try to fake I'm a girl. It's not going to pass on most, but I can try, right? So blockchain as a technology is a secured see-through technology. So if it is on the blockchain, you can't fool it. What FTX did is they didn't put it on a blockchain, but FTX was a centralized system, meaning it was about trust. Okay, when I deal with a decentralized blockchain, there's no trust. There's only fact. Okay,
right.
So basically, if I understand the question correctly, it's just there is no way, if you put it on a decentralized blockchain, it is see-through and secured. You can't change it and you can see everything. So, if you ask me if there's any kind of way to cheat, I'm sure somebody's going to come up with something. But basically, the whole point of the blockchain is it's a whole see-through secured system. And we're all entities with equal rights. I can give you, you can give me. I don't need to be a bank or a title agency or whatever it is. We're all equal. And as we're two adults, right? Brett, if I decide to send you something, that's all we need.
Right.
Shake of hand or say, okay, and then it happens. And on the blockchain, you see the transaction.
Right.
That's why you can't cheat on blockchain. When people say all the money laundering happening on blockchain, those are people that don't understand the technology, not even a 1%. Okay.
Right.
You can't launder money you can do a lot of things, but you can't launder money efficiently on the blockchain because it's all registered.
That's right.
Okay.
And redundant, right? Backed up on, and again, if you're people aren't familiar with it, you learn about how the technology works and know that it's redundancies. I mean, huge levels of redundancies, meaning, you can't just shut down one computer and that's it. It's gone. Erase it. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't. So again, it's just it's a system that was created for us, for our privacy, for better use. And if you actually put it in a decentralized, again, not a centralized, which means nothing, a decentralized blockchain, then everything is public. Nobody can fool anybody. And you can make a mistake. I can accidentally send you $1 million and you don't have to give it back to me. So you can do stupid stuff, but not by cheating. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
lost a bunch of money once when I sent crypto to the wrong address, and it was in the tens of thousands of dollars, and it was a very expensive lesson. But
probably only made that mistake once. Yep. Yep.
Do your research and
do your own
to
research.
follow up on this, how do you recommend the later adopters to do their own research? I mean, like, where should they start? How do you know that they're not falling for the non-centralized cryptocurrencies?
Perfect questions. That's the beautiful thing about blockchain. Everything is out there. You can look right now, you can have research and see which blockchains have which users, which blockchain has which devs. Nothing is like, it's not like it is now that it's completely like a secret. They tell you something on the website. No, you can look. You can look at the actions. You can look at what's going on. If you guys want me to put some, names out there, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, but things that I love to invest in, so absolutely Bitcoin, absolutely Ethereum. If any of you just heard about XRP, I wasn't really with them because they were having this lawsuit, but now it seems like they resolved it. I just got some. Cardano, I'm I like Huskinson. I think he's a cool dude. So there are certain things that I invest in. There are certain coins that I am not sure about, but I invest in. And again, it's all risky things. But in the bull market, when Bitcoin is going to go up, 95% of them are going to go up together. But you got to also understand that if it's not something you really believe in, don't keep it. Sell it when it goes up. Okay? Because it's all, if you get rich on paper and then poor on paper again, it doesn't help you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and again, like you said, a lot of that stuff is buy and hold if it's something that you believe in. I mean, that's, again, not financially advising, but that's at least the methodology that you use. Maybe it works for somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah, and then if you guys want to check out coins, there are so many like CoinDesk or CoinGecko. You can look at what a coin did since the beginning of blockchain. You can look at what's happening. I see Solana for Web3 gaming. So Solana, I never invested in Solana because of their connection to FTX, because of my belief that FTX was a complete fraud. So I now actually am considering to invest in Solana because I think they got so low because of the FTX. There's actually a lot of growth to do it. But Solana is an interesting case. I think they have a lot going for them, but their reputation is really, really flawed because of the FTX money is what really grew them. So I like them. I have some, very little. I did not have before all this nonsense happened, but I think they are a good bet for the next bull run. I have a lot of really smart friends that have bags and bags of it.
Awesome. And we're kind of approaching this hour time here. We try to be mindful of everyone's time. So Zeev, definitely thanks for jumping on. But before we say goodbye, I guess, what's something that you want to leave everyone with? Like what's maybe one key takeaway or maybe something that people should maybe do their research on? What's the one thing, the really important thing you kind of want to leave everyone here with before we take off?
Money's changing. The economy's changing and the way we do things change. So if you guys want to kind of hold the bull by the horns, start understanding these new things. Don't be afraid of technologies. Don't be afraid of things you don't understand. Dive in, try it, play with AI, go into blockchains, see what you can do. If you don't gain that experience now, when it's time to, you're going to be in such a disadvantage. So explore, play, take time, and understand that these are the technologies that are going to change everything we do in the next 5 years.
Huge. That's awesome. I agree. Do your research, right? Basically, that's basically what we're saying is do your research. Yeah, for sure. And obviously, before we go, we got a couple of things coming up. Pleasure, go ahead. Go ahead, Ophir. Sorry.
No, my stream is just the storm over me, so my stream is kind of disrupted.
Oh, I got you.
But I got to say, the talk was phenomenal. I felt a lot like I'm speaking to Joe today. Like I don't know if you felt it as well, Brett, but there was some Joe vibes.
Yep.
But again, I'm thankful for the opportunity I had to connect with you and introduce you to the community and have you here. And I want to stress it out. And again, I'm looking forward to see you again and again and again future events, man.
Brother, I'm looking forward as well. And Joe, I've already challenged you to this. We need to have like an open conversation, and I can't wait for that. And guys, what you do with your community with Furlough is so amazing. Ophir, I told you this in person. Building a community is one of the hardest things in the world. You deliver so much value. You have such incredible people. What you guys did is amazing.
And speaking of incredible people, I do want to mention a couple of things coming up here. On Tuesday, we've got Jacob is hosting, which you saw him here in chat, asking some really great questions. AC said I was gonna stumble on the words here, so let's see if we can hit this without stumbling it. It's how to build a massive network and sell. Sales Success Unleashed, and that's on Tuesday, 10 a.m. And then we've got Build in Public again next week. That's going to be Women in Tech. So again, same time, same bat channel, same bat time. Next week, Thursday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be Women in Tech, the power of network and community, how to foster community. And that's with Virginia Frischkorn, which is probably harder to say than the entirety of that name of that other event. So Zeev, thanks for joining, man. This has been really fun. Definitely appreciate it. Hope to connect offline. Thanks for the time beforehand, and definitely hope to connect offline as well and get involved. And definitely would love to hear you and Joe having some sparring back and forth, I guess you would say, on some of these topics. So yeah,
I
appreciate
think
your
we're on
time.
the same team.
I think you're right. But you never know. Anything you want to plug, or any socials you want to drop in here
Please,
before
everybody,
we off?
come follow me on LinkedIn. I love my
Okay.
LinkedIn community. If you want to ask something, DM me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is kind of where I live. I don't live on too many other social medias. But anybody, please connect with me, follow me, send me questions. Would love to see you. And we share a lot of great information on our LinkedIn.
Awesome. Definitely follow Zeev on LinkedIn. Ophir, thanks for jumping in here as well, and appreciate you co-hosting and asking the hard questions with me. Anything you want to leave us with before we take off?
I mean, just have a lot of fun, and then every time I have the opportunity to learn from a speaker, man, and especially a friend, great pleasure, man. Looking forward for the next time, huh?
Same
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being our pathway to bringing Zeev into the community here, Ophir, since I know you guys go way back several decades. I don't know how many decades, 8 or 9, maybe 10. So Zeev,
Lots.
like I said, thanks for joining, and we appreciate everyone dropping their questions in and hanging out with us for this last hour. And you know where to catch us in Furlough, of course, discord.gg/Furlough. Like I said, we'll see everyone next time in Build in Public Radio next Thursday for Women in Tech. Definitely hang out with us on Tuesday. And